So Toxteth, Gramby, it's all changed, but let's check it out. Toxteth, Liverpool 8, just off Granby Street. Now Granby Street no longer resembles Granby from back in the day. You know, it was the place you went to score your rocky, your sticks of weed, and it was a no-go zone for police. Now this street here is just, you know, it's been abandoned, derelict. There's houses, every house on this street is empty. The community's changed. Most of the old school have left and moved on. I don't recognise anyone. You know, and I used to mix with people around these areas when I was a youth, back in the day. Yes, here I am with my old friend Errol. Now Errol's got a story and he does a lot for the community, especially down the south end, and he's working up the north end. So I'm going to let Errol tell you about himself now and what he does. Yes, so while I've got an opportunity, I'm going to ask Errol a few questions about what it was like back in the day in Toxteth, especially Granby, you know, the riots. Tell us a little bit about what it was like for you.
Growing up in L8 was pretty rough. Not from each other, but the police.
Yeah.
Because growing up, I remember one time, I must have been about 14, 15, and I seen two elder dreads. I've always been a Rasta man, you know what I mean? And, you know, my peers or my elders, they're about 17, 18, and I seen police strip them naked in the street.
Yeah,
and it kind of put a little bit of scar on me. I never come out the house for weeks. I thought, well, maybe when I'm a teenager, is that going to happen to me? I was about 14 at the time.
That fear going on.
Yeah. So it traumatized me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was the type of thing that was constantly going on in 80 before 81 came.
Yeah.
So 81 was just like the pot just blew off the lid.
The pinnacle of it all.
Yeah. It just, you know, the pot lid just blew off the pot, basically. You know.
How old was you then? 17?
I was 16, 1980, so 17, 1981. Just left school at 16.
You must have been in the midst of it all then.
Well, yeah, because you couldn't help it. No. I was there when it started, and you know, you pick and choose when you go out and you'll have a look what's going down. You know, but it was rough. It was the police harassment from in the 70s, and this is young blacks and whites, you know what I mean, because the riots may have started in Granby,
but they didn't end.
A lot of communities came from elsewhere. A lot of communities that really were sometimes hostile growing in the 70s, you know, the whole racial tension between black and white, you know, Heighton Speak, Scotty Road, but they all came in 81. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because they had the same grievances as being young men.
Getting harassed?
Yeah. Being harassed by the police.
And do you think over the years it's changed, the community's changed? Because it's like I've just been walking around Granby and it's totally different from when I was like growing up here, you know. Granby's not Granby no more, is it?
No, there's only about 2 shops on it, if that. I think what we had as a community was everybody who knew each other.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you know, a youngster got stopped by the police or whatever, everyone would run to that, to the rescue kind of thing and say, well, what's going on? What's he done? You know, nowadays, I think there's that many communities here and people are very suspicious of one another. They don't know each other.
It's getting like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very getting much like that. People don't know each other. So, for instance, if a young... I don't want to sound like
say it how it is.
Yeah. For instance, okay, there was a march a few years ago. A young black lad died by Liverpool 1.
Yeah.
Police said it had been a choke or whatever, but you know, they reported died in police custody.
Yeah.
So what I've noticed is that within this community we have a large Somali community and a large Yemenis community. And the Afro-Caribbean community came out because the lad was of Afro-Caribbean background. So I had to say to some of my Somali friends and Yemenese friends, well, why didn't you come on the march? Because if that was a young Somali lad or a young Yemenese lad, we would come out as Afro-Caribbean people who have been here for a long time and suffered these type of things with, you know.
And support.
So, yeah. So that's not happening in the community no more.
There's no glue, is there?
There's no glue.
Yeah, it's changed.
So it's almost as if like, okay, an Afro-Caribbean lad, you have to deal with it. Yemenis lad, you have to deal with it. But when we were growing up, everyone was stuck together.
It was a tight
glued
community,
together,
yeah.
Whether you was Somali, Yemenis, Afro-Caribbean, white, you know, we all stuck together. So because we all knew each other and grew up in this area.
Yeah, and because I lived at the top of Lodge Lane, so I knew, you know, I had white friends and black friends in that area.
Yeah. And that's why
name but a few.
The riots were so fierce and so because
they went down to Park Road and everywhere, no Dublin Street.
And everybody come together and thought, we're not taking this crap no more. Yeah. You know, as young teenagers,
things
like
changed,
you say. Yeah. And now I see a lot of, even though it's multicultural, it's segregated.
Yeah, so it's sad life, isn't it?
It's very sad, and that's the way I see it. That's what I see. That's what I see in my daily experience. Yeah. Even though I know people from all these different communities, and engage with them because of my food and what I do, but everyone doesn't engage together. And for instance, that unity that we had as a community, that could never happen again, and that's why, you know, people can manipulate this situation. And you know, the city council, the police, the system, because they've got us divided.
Already.
Sad. They've definitely got us divided.
But anyway, thanks for your time, Errol. Appreciate that.
Respect, really, man.
Thank you, man.
Respect.